Thank you. You guys can put your hands down. Okay, eyes up here, readers. Okay, so you guys, I've noticed that in a lot of the books we've been reading together, we have met a lot of characters, right? We've been doing a lot of read-alouds. So today we're going to explore all of the fiction stories that we've read together so far, and we're going to pay really close attention to the characters. And we're going to see what happens to characters in fiction books, okay? So readers, pay attention to characters to see how fiction books work, okay? So today I want you to ask yourselves, as you explore some of these books, what am I noticing about characters in fiction stories? So that's the question you're going to ask yourself. What am I noticing about characters in fiction stories? Let me show you what I mean, okay? So you're going to get a chance to look through a lot of the books that we've read together as a class, okay? So as I have been exploring these books, I've noticed that most of these books include one main character. So I noticed that this book included a main character, and this book had a main character, and so did this book. So that's one thing I'm noticing in fiction stories, is that across fiction stories, books include main characters. So I'm going to chart that up here. So I might say books include main characters. So that's one thing I'm noticing, okay? So now it's your turn. So I'm going to hand out some of these books, and with your reading partner, I want you to ask yourselves, what am I noticing about characters in fiction stories? Okay, so what are you going to talk about with your reading partner? Go ahead. I can't hear you. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What do you mean by what fiction stories mean? What are you going to pay attention to in the fiction stories? The characters, exactly. So when you and your partner are going to talk about what you're noticing, okay? So I'm going to hand you some books, and then you can trade with partners around you and just talk about what you're noticing. And as I come around, I'm going to be asking you what you and your partner are noticing, okay? Okay, so if you and your partner want to take one and pass, and same here, take one and pass, and then you guys can kind of trade. Okay, so as soon as you get your book, you can start talking to your partner. So like characters have goals, kind of? What are you guys thinking about characters? What are you noticing about characters? Like what?
You're going to talk about what you notice about the characters. So we've already read these books, so you already kind of know what the story is. You're supposed to be talking about what you notice or what you're thinking about the characters. But you're not reading, you're just talking about it.
So we're supposed to read it?
No, you're just talking about it.
I agree with you because they should just be nice to Mrs. Kirby, and then they can be recess. So it reminds me of treat others the way you want to be treated, because she'll take away his recess if he gives her a paper airplane, and that's messing up other kids' education. When it was recess time, she said, "Hey, do you want to my friend?" I said, "Yes."
Think about characters across all the
Yeah, I think he's a main character.
Christian.
I don't think
I think he.
What are you noticing about characters?
Why do we have to call him? That's why he was up with that. The colors mix, the colors begins to say, he causes the mix.
These are good things. I want you guys to share those things with me, okay?
What if everybody did that?
Right? So can you show that picture out? What are you thinking about characters?
I don't know.
The characters, I look at the pages. I feel like a little upset that she can't.
So you're thinking that characters have feelings. Have you noticed that in all the books we've read? What are you thinking about that?
Kind of the same thing because reported on the book. Sad because everyone
He got this. The only thing she
So it sounds like you're also doing some comparing of characters in books.
I know
Talk more about that.
he taught us I'm thinking about the character is
Hold on, she was talking first, okay? And then who else?
I'm thinking about the character is like what their feelings are and what they're trying to say to the person that they're talking to.
They were talking about character feelings too, and they noticed that in all the books we've read, characters like feel different things. Oh, so a lot of characters have like similar experiences to you, right? What are you guys thinking?
He noticed that if they be nice to her, she'll be nice to him, and so her like treat people how you want to be treated. Every time he threw a paper that made her mad, and then her recess for him, which made him mad. And we noticed there was something, and I said Granny, and Mrs. Chin's Granny when he
So it sounds like you guys are thinking about lessons in books. So can we say that in the books we've read that characters learn lessons? So share that out, okay? Cool. Hi, I'm Lauren Lamanga.
Everybody live in good harmony until one afternoon she ran after the swimming pool. I can't smile.
Okay, readers, give me 5, please. Oh my gosh, that was so quick. Wow. You get a lightning bolt for that.
Oh, let's get it.
Okay, put your book right down in front of you. So as I was walking around and listening, I realized that as readers, you're noticing a lot of things about characters across all of the books we've read. You can put your hand down, you don't have to keep it up. Okay? So let's talk about some of the things that you noticed, and we're gonna chart your ideas. So just like I put my idea up there, I'm gonna put your ideas up here. So what are some things that you noticed about characters in fiction stories? What did you talk to your reading partner about? And what did you talk to me about? I was listening to some of you guys talking. What did you guys talk about? What did you notice about characters?
So characters have their own things they do and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Can you say more about that? What do you mean things they do?
So they got a goal to do in their books.
I was talking to someone else about that too. So it sounds like we talked a lot about that characters have goals and they do things to reach those goals. Did anyone else talk about that a little bit? So we can say characters have goals. Okay. What else are you guys noticing about characters? How about you? Sam, go ahead.
Well, me and Lily were reading My Teacher is a Monster.
Uh-huh.
We noticed that she was trying to be nice to the kids so she could turn back to them. And so it was because Kirby would keep throwing paper at airplanes, and that would make her not be able to turn back into a woman. And so that made her, like, it says, treat people how you want to be treated so you can express your feelings. And at the ending, they liked each other. And so, but then at the ending, she got mad again, but they were still friends.
So did you feel like the characters learned something in that book? So thinking across our books, are characters learning lessons?
Yes.
What do you guys think? I see some head nods. Okay. So can we say that we're noticing that characters learn lessons in the stories we read?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some other things you're noticing as readers? Maya, what did you guys talk about?
They get some help from someone else in the book.
Say more about that. What do you mean by help from someone else?
Like in one of the books, they said, like in this book, people kept on saying he kept on making bad choices and people taught him the lessons that he should start doing, because in one of the pages he became this, he threw a soda can on the street, and then a police came, pulled the gun over and said, what if everyone did that? And then it showed pictures of cans all over the place, and that's not healthy for the world.
So you talked a little bit about how characters get help from other characters. Look at your books in front of you. Give me a thumbs up if your character got help from another character in your book.
At the end.
Wow, that's most of you. So we can say that across text, characters get help from other characters. What else are you noticing as readers about characters in fiction stories? Go ahead, what did you guys talk about, Kevin?
They all go to school.
So Kevin was noticing that characters have similar experiences to us, right? That's the author's way of connecting you. Give me a thumbs up if you have experienced something similar to a character in the story you read. Some maybe not, and that's okay. So characters have familiar experiences to the reader. Some of you were talking a lot about character feelings. What are you noticing about that across your texts? Ava?
Like the characters in the book have like the same reality, and like for example, the teacher gave a little piece of paper to the student, and she made a dot because she didn't feel like good about herself because.
So I heard you just say something about how the character felt. As readers, what are you noticing about character feelings in all of these books we've read?
So we will read a mix, and since the Reds, they were the best, and when they lose that on the bench, it was sad, and then yellow joined, and they were happy.
Any other thoughts about that? Is your hand up? Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Karen.
So, in this character book, we noticed that the characters, the main characters, Alexander's feelings were mad at first, and then at the end, when he said that his mom said that some days are just like that, when he thought that he was having a bad day, he actually wasn't, because some days are just like that.
So it sounds like across these books, as readers, you all are noticing that characters have feelings, and these feelings sometimes change throughout the book. Give me a thumbs up if you notice that in the book you talked to your partner about. So we can say characters have feelings. And I think I'm going to make that a separate idea because they do have feelings, and sometimes characters' feelings, what do? They change, right? Okay, readers, so you noticed a lot of different characteristics in your book about characters. So today we studied what characters have in common throughout a lot of fiction stories. So as we read different stories together in our class throughout the next few weeks, we're going to pay really close attention to the characters in our stories. And these are some of the things that we might explore a little further, okay? So today as you read your fiction stories during your read to self, I want you to think about, what am I noticing about the character? So this is a question you can ask yourself and stop and jot about in your notebook, okay? Okay. All right, great job. So I'm gonna have you just pass your books in to the center